Hey guys, Xaryu here, and today I have some incredibly exciting matches to share with you guys from the top 4 of the North American kind of road to BlizzCon games here. First, we are going to be looking at Super Frogs versus Method Black. This is a best of 5 series, and as always guys, we're starting on the Grand Arena. The losing team gets to change their composition and get to kind of pick the next map, so we're gonna have to see how this best of 5 series plays out. But right away we have Cubsy, Majid, and Wealthy Man opting to play Assassination, Arcane Mage, Discipline Priest. And on the opposing side, we have Method Black, Gareki, Sandman, and Smexen playing the Windwalker Monk, the Arcane Mage, and the Resto Druid. The first thing I want to note here in this game, guys, is that both mages are not playing Temporal Shield. They're playing Kleptomania instead. The reason being is, I think this is a phenomenal choice. Reason being is, there's a Resto Druid on the enemy team for Majidin, right? So he definitely has to go Klepto because he wants to Klepto all of those hots. And then Samayam knows this, so he is playing Klepto to Klepto the hots back. So Samayam's only going to Klepto when Majidin Kleptos, and Majidin's only going to Klepto on a go. Right away, tons of offensive pressure coming out onto Samayam. It's the Vendetta from Wealthy Man. All of the offensive pressure, and he is forced into the ice block. The overlapped Iron Bark as well, but the Iron Bark is definitely needed there to keep Samayam alive. The only problem I have with this opener is that Gareki kind of sat that full blind sap, and that Samayam had to get that low and use his ice block. If Gareki would have trinketed that blind, he probably would have been able to save Samayam. So it's kind of just like, do you want to use trinket or do you want to use ice block? The way they played it is fine. It just means that Samayam doesn't have that ice block, so next go, it's definitely going to be Gareki's Trinket. Double leg sweep now coming out onto Majidin and to Wealthy Man. Wealthy Man does decide to trinket that leg sweep, start peeling, and start switching on the offensive pressure back onto Samayam. Now, Samayam gets locked out here in his Arcane Tree, and this is really what you want to be looking out for. When Samayam gets locked out, or when Majidin gets locked out as an Arcane Mage, this is when they can no longer blink. This is when you can connect. This is when, the problem with killing an Arcane Mage, guys, is that they have so much mobility. They can kite so well with all of their blinks. So when you lock out an Arcane Mage, it's really when you can start connecting. So we really want to keep an eye out on the counter spells this game and the big burst. But Gareki going into that Fierce, Smexen getting very low, and he is forced to trinket and pop that Karma. He does still have his wall available, so, and healing elixirs if he gets very, very low as well. So I still wouldn't really expect Smexen to be a kill target. He has that portal, the wall, he's healing elixir, so if Smexen did go down, I'd be very surprised, although it could happen. Smexen's doing a great job of just kiting around the pillars, and this is why Monk is a very difficult kill option. He's just completely kiting the enemy team. Now, Cubsy into the full sheep, Gareki into that full kidney shot. Looks like Samayam's going to be fine, though. That Iron Bark does connect onto him. Once again, Samayam gets kicked, and it's a little scary. The full blind comes down to Gareki, and this time he trinkets instantly because Smexen has no karma. Samayam has no block. He cannot afford to sit that blind. He has to keep up those heals rolling. Now Gareki using his artifact ability, topping his entire team. The full sheep's coming out onto Majid, and Samayam doing a great job peeling this go, but Gareki gets half feared there. Smexen's still very low, but once again, guys, I don't see the Windwalker Monk really going down anytime soon because he can kite so well. If he doesn't actually die in the stun, it's going to be very difficult for him to die, and with all of the trinkets and all of the peels from the Arcane Mage, that can definitely, it's just definitely a hard thing to actually set up. Right there, though, Majidin is forced into his ice block from the offensive cooldowns, the Arcane Power from Samayam. Nice setup there from Smexen. So the team of Method Black is the Windwalker Arcane. They're looking to set up with maybe a Paralyze into a Cyclone, or a Paralyze into a Polymorph onto Cubsy, okay? And then they're going to go for a Leg Sweep or a Fist of Fury stun onto Majidin and to Wealthy Man. The way they want to set this up, though, is very specific. You either have to do one of two things to set up as the team of Method Black. You either have to kick Majidin so he can't blink, okay? You have to kick him so he can't blink, or else he's just going to kite you when you want to go. When Cubsy CC is just going to run all over the place. Or you have to CC him before you go onto him, which means a Polymorph, a Paralyze, a Cyclone, to lock down Majidin immediately into a stun with Cross CC and Cubsy and Wealthy Man. That's what Method Black needs to do if they want to actually get this kill. Now, if Super Frogs wants to get a kill, they have to do something kind of similar. They want to CC Samayam with the Paralyze, or they don't have Paralyze, but with a Polymorph. It could be with a Fear, but probably with a Polymorph or a Lockout with some type of CC on Gareki. So this full Fear is coming out. Samayam's actually getting very low. I'll interrupt myself. He doesn't have Ice Block available. He's just kiting around the map in circles. That Vendetta is still ticking. Gareki has a ton of hots onto him. Looks like Samayam has all of his hots back as well. So Majordan probably kleptoed the hots. Samayam kleptoed them back. But back to my point. if Majin and Wealthy Man want to get a kill here onto Samam, I don't think they can really take down Smexen if he plays this correctly. There's the Trinket Karma coming out. He's always going to have Trinket Karma or Healing Elixirs or Wall. It's going to be a deep dampener if they actually take down Smexen, I do believe. But to get those goes onto Samam, they need to CC him first with that Sheep, with that counter spell, some type of, keep Samam still in some way, right? And then you want to Kleptomania him as you CC Gareki with a blind, with maybe a fear, maybe if you catch a polymorph, maybe a stun into a polymorph, something like that onto Gareki, and then you can burst down Samam. However, every time one of these goes comes out, all that Method Black has to do is Trinket it, Ice Block it, Smexen can Trinket Peel. So as long as Method Black rotates through their cooldowns, they're not going to really allow this to happen. So we'll have to see here. But all it takes for either team to really get a kill is CC onto Cubsy with huge burst on the Majiden while he's locked out, or CC onto Gareki and huge burst on the Sandman when he's locked out. Not really sure which team I give the advantage to. Maybe Majiden and Wealthy Man's team, just because if they get that lockout on the Resto Druid Klepto, Samayam could die. The same thing goes for the other side, but they're playing a little more reactively. Reason being is Samayam can't Klepto until Majiden Kleptos. Majiden initiates the ghost with his Kleptos onto the Hots from Gareki onto Samayam. So that's kind of the difference. That full Sheep now comes out onto Cubsy. The double stun on Majiden and Wealthy Man. Looks like they're really not getting much done with it at all. Beautiful kites here by Majiden. He's just completely, just not taking any damage the entire time Cubsy's in CC, and that's the big problem. If you're not getting Majiden locked down before the go, during the go, when Cubsy's CC'd, he's just going to kite all of the damage. And the Sheep's coming out into Gareki. Once again, not too much happening on over to Samayam. Samayam's doing a good job of mitigating the damage. Want to note that it looks like I think Samayam, it looks like he's playing Horde, and it looks like Majiden is actually playing Alliance. I'm not sure if I have that right. It's actually sometimes a little difficult to tell since I didn't look in the starting area. But yes, I think Gareki, Samayam, and Smexen are playing Horde characters. Cubsy, Majiden, and Wealthy Man looks like they're playing Alliance from what I can tell. This means that Majiden is going to have that extra trinket, and Samayam's being an orc, he's going to take a little bit less stun duration, right? So the advantage definitely, human is definitely very powerful for this matchup. Reason being is if Smexen catches Majiden and Wealthy Man in those lockouts, in those stuns, the Fist of Fury, the leg sweeps, Majiden and Wealthy Man are going to have an additional trinket, the Trinket Peel that go, which is a huge deal when you're thinking long term, when you're rotating through cooldowns. To be able to get out of that extra go is incredible. Gareki going into half mind control. Samayam, the Vendetta from Wealthy Man coming out. Samayam getting very low. He does actually survive. I thought he was just going to go down there. The Arcane Power now from Samayam. The Touch of Death, the Serenity from Smexen. The full Sheep onto Cubsy, into that half Sheep from Cubsy. But it looks like Samayam and Smexen are having a very difficult time actually connecting that damage. And here's the big problem, guys. Samayam and Smexen aren't controlling Majiden before that go actually comes out, right? They need to control Majiden, get CC and Cubsy, and then knock him, right? Whereas they keep getting the nice CC, but then Majiden just slips away each and every time. Maybe alternatively, they could just kick Majiden and then go for the Paralyze and then do big damage. But one way or another, they really need to lock down Majiden, because Majiden's doing an incredible job of just kiting every time Cubsy's in CC. Now, there is a huge factor here that's coming into play very soon as dampening his about 20%, and that is mana. Cubsy's about 20% mana. Gareki's sitting on the other side about 70 or actually about 80% mana. So Gareki's definitely going to win this dampening war, but Samayam throws out the massive invisibility, still getting very low. Cubsy now into the Sheep. Let's see if Majiden is going to have to ice block here. Samayam's getting low, Majiden is getting low. Samayam looks to be in a little bit more trouble for the time being. Not quite sure who the Hots are rolling on yet, but that Iron Bark from Gareki comes out. Looks like Samayam's going to be fine for now. Smexen has every defensive cooldown in the world. Samayam does get stunned here. That Vendetta comes out onto him once again, and he does trinket that stun, which I absolutely love. Smexen now taking some pressure with that Sheep Shot. He opts to sit it and just throw the Karma out of the Sheep Shot. I love that he didn't use his trinket there. He didn't need to use his trinket. He's holding it for when he has to peel for Samayam instead of using the cooldown for himself. When Samayam's in trouble, Smexen's going to pop that trinket and peel for Samayam instead. But we want to watch out here for is pretty much just like a kick, a spell steal, and a burst from the team of Super Frogs, or the same thing really could happen from the team of Method Black. Just a kick or a sheep or some type of CC onto Cubsy, counterspell on the Major, and boom, a huge burst. Either team could die in just a second if the right damage connects, but at the same time, this game can go very, very long if both mages do a good job of just kiting and mitigating the damage, right? So mages are one of those classes, guys, that are very, extremely squishy if they, mitigate damage correctly with things like Temporal Shield or Kleptomania or Blink with Prismatic Cloak or Displacement. If they don't, it's either like they're not taking damage at all, or they're getting one shot, right? It's one of the two. So as a mage, you're going to be very squishy. If you're standing in place in the middle of the map, you're going to die in like 2 hits. But if you're kiting around, you're going to take almost 0 damage. And as you can see, both mages playing phenomenally well, getting, oh my gosh, and as I say that, Greki, like I'm going to replay that. As I say that, Samayam gets caught, right? Samayam gets caught. The counter spell comes out on the Greki. Majiden uses his Kleptomania, completely cleans Samayam. They get a huge kitty shot. There is no trinket from Samayam. Now, I wonder if Samayam is human, if he'd still have a trinket available. But he's not human. Sits that full kidney. Majiden just getting all of the arcane missiles. And this is really what it takes. Lockout on the Greki. Kidney onto Samayam. Spell still onto Samayam's hot. Boom, 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 boom. Dead. 100 to 0. Just like that. That's all it takes. But with all of the defensive cooldowns and the rotations, it can be very, very difficult to land that. So game 1 does go to Super Frogs. All right, guys, hopping into game 2, we are on Ashamane's Fall, and I am excited. Take a guess why? Because Method Black decided to change to some RMP, so we are going to get some RMP mirrors, but this time it's going to be Arcane Assassination RMP mirrors, but it's so ballsy to just be like, you know what? We can RMP better than you guys. We're going to queue the RMP right into your RMP and really see who can do it better. So this is definitely very scary. It looks like Snuts and Samayam and Gareki are playing Alliance now. So this is an Alliance RMP mirror. So no excuses here. They're playing the exact same specs, the exact same races. And really what I think is going to go on here is a very similar thing. We're going to get CC onto the Priest, burst onto the mages. But both mages this time are playing Temp Shield. Gareki in that full sheep, Samayam popping that beautiful Temp Shield. Cubsy in the full blind, actually sitting it because he did use his human trinket earlier. And it looks like there's no follow-up CC quite yet. That sheep does land though onto Cubsy a little bit later. Majiden and Samayam doing a great job of kiting while their priests are in CC. The Rapture coming up from Gareki, just keeping up Samayam. Samayam using his arcane power first. Does get kicked though on that missile attempt, so he's not going to get too much damage out for the time being. Mage is probably the primary target here, seeing as Assassination Rogues are pretty tanky and they both have 2 trinkets. But as I say that, they do a swap onto Wealthy Man. He's holding his trinket for such a long time, and that's some incredible trust there between Wealthy Man and Cubsy. Wealthy Man getting 20% and Cubsy saying, no, don't trinket, you're fine. Roastmaster X would have trinketed right there. I'm just saying. So beautiful hold there by Wealthy Man, using that Cloak of Shadows off. Looks like he's going to be fine, but the sheep now comes out on the Gareki. Pressure turning onto Samayam. Kidney shot comes out on the Wealthy Man. The fear comes out on the Cubsy and Majiden. Cubsy trinketing that fear, which is interesting, right? So the next blind that Snuts has available for Cubsy is going to be very scary because he's not going to have trinket for it. And Majiden could just go down. I think Gareki, on the other hand, if he lines his trinket up with that blind, is going to be much safer. Now, Samayam getting very low, and Gareki does an amazing job of pain suppressioning Samayam right there at very high HP before that fear actually does come out. Now the kidney shot onto Cubsy, and it looks like Method Black's actually doing a pre-swap right here, which is very interesting. Not something that I would really suspect, at least hitting his Vim off, so he has a difficult time healing, but it looks like Cubsy's just going to say, no, I'm going to heal right through that. Both priests are sitting about 60% mana here. Slight edge to Gareki, but Gareki goes into the full polymorph. Looks like he either does it or it does break. Now the half polymorph coming out. Samayam still very low. The full fear coming out onto Gareki. Samayam pops his Temp Shield, but does get spell stolen instantly. Snuts popping the evasion, the cloak to try to stay as offensive as possible. Looks like Super Frog's in the driver's seat as of right now. Majiden popping that mass invis, so Cubsy doesn't get resheet. Beautiful mass invis there by Majiden. Cubsy comes out of that CC. Now Samayam into that kidney shot. Looks like he's going to survive 4 now. Temp Shield coming out from Majiden. Full blind now on the Cubsy. This is what I was talking about, guys. Full blind on the Cubsy. He has no trinket for it. Majiden is going to have to trinket and blink away, but he might actually have to block. Is there any follow-up CC on the Cubsy? Doesn't look like there's a sap or a sheep on the Cubsy, so it looks like Majiden is going to be fine. He still has that ice block available if he does need it. However, he, is very vulnerable to Master Spell. There's 2 priests on this team and 2 mages. So as soon as your ice block, if that priest has the foresight and he's not CC'd, that ice block is coming right off, and you can just die right through ice block, that full kidney shot. Now coming out on the Cubsy, and this is a very interesting strategy coming out from Method Black. They're actually hitting Cubsy and Majiden and Wealthy Man a little bit. They're just rotting the enemy team. Instead of going for these huge setups, they're really rotting the enemy team. And with this rot, Cubsy is going to have a very difficult time healing through this in the long run because that Vim is constantly going to be off. His heals are going to be extremely less effective. Now, Cubsy's still sitting about half HP, not really in trouble of dying himself, but Majordan and Wealthy Man are kind of rotting at the same time, and that's what we want to keep a look at. Now, guys, both Priest mana about 15 or 20%. This is where it gets scary, right? Because as dampening starts to kick in, both Priests are now all of a sudden you don't have mana for offensive purges, you don't have mana for mass dispels, you don't have mana for even the heals you want. Something is going to happen as these Priests are running on empty. Wealthy Man connecting now on to Samayam, it looks like, for a second. Gorecki now going into that full sheep. Are they going to be able to make anything happen? Samayam doing a beautiful job kiting, but does get kicked. This is their time to kind of connect with him, but as he connects, Gorecki goes into that fear, and he goes into his ice block. So the first ice block of the game coming out from Samayam. Majordan still has his ice block available, but as I say that, he does get caught in that full stun. Trinket Temp Shield coming out from Majordan. Looks like he's going to be fine. No CC on Cubsy quite yet. Both Priests are still running on empty, or almost running on empty right here. Samayam 50% life, no ice block, sitting that full kidney shot. Now the Rapture and the Archangel coming out from Gorecki. Looks like Samayam is going to be fine for now. He also pops that Temp Shield, so it looks like he's going to be completely fine for the time being. Now Cubsy does get kicked with that counterspell. Majordan going into the full kidney shot. Looks like it's for sure going to be the ice block. Ice block comes out. Massive spell lands from Gorecki. Cheap shot onto Cubsy's Trinket into the full sheep. Beautiful place here coming out from Method Black. Now full sheep landing onto Cubsy. Is Majordan going to be able to survive? Beautiful peels now coming out from Wealthy Man, but the Vendetta from Snuts is kicking in. The half sheep comes out on the Cubsy. Majordan gets kicked, unable to kite, and does go down. Wow, beautifully played there by Method Black, and that's what I was saying right at the end. That massive spell can come out onto the ice block, that re-CC onto the blind, onto the Trinket. Beautiful plays there by Method Black in the end. I would say they had a slight disadvantage because Samayam had the ice block first, but they got Majordan's ice block, massive spell, got that re-CC, and took game 2. All right, guys, game 3 on Blades Edge Arena. These games are so exciting. We have Super Frogs versus Method Black. Once again, they're sticking to their guns. RMP Mirrors got that smile on my face because I love watching RMP Mirrors, and I love when a team decides to stick it out with a composition instead of trying to switch to a counter comp. These guys are both very confident in their RMP gameplay. Method Black did take last game, but Super Frogs did look very, very good throughout that entire game. Now the kidney shot coming out on the Gorecki, the cheap shot coming out on Snuts, the Groat coming out on the Samayam. Beautiful control there by Wealthy Man, completely controlling the enemy team. Now Snuts gets mind controlled off, jumped off the bridge. He does vanish down below, trying to run back up and get a nice setup. But in the meantime, Gorecki going to the full sheep. Samayam getting very low. That Temp Shield coming out. Is he going to trust that Temp Shield or just throw the ice block out? Samayam, you're getting low, bro. Press the ice block. Trust me, man. Just do it. There's the ice block coming out from Samayam. Finally, that hold was insane. The massive spell comes out on it. The re-CC from Gorecki. The pain suppression does come out. Gorecki's not full fear now. Samayam's doing a great job kiting, but he's so low. The kick comes out. Oh man, this is so scary to watch on the team of Samayam, Gorecki, and the Snuts. They are all very low HP. No Cloak of Shadows evasion or vanish. No ice block, Temp Shield, no pain suppression, no trinkets. Super Frogs is dominating the opener in this game. Doesn't mean it's over quite yet, as we saw last game. Method Black can definitely turn this around, get a big go in. This is the Vendetta from Snuts coming out onto Majordan now. Looks like Snuts and Wealthy Man, both rogues, are down below, getting completely kited by these Arcane Mages here on this map. The Arcane Mages are blinking all around, getting life gripped everywhere. Very, very difficult for either rogue to connect onto either Arcane Mage. That's kind of the name of the game, though, right? They're going to be waddling for a while, waddling, and as soon as they get that kidney shot, as soon as they get that counter spell or that kick on the Arcane Tree, they can't kite anymore. They're going to do a ton of burst damage, get all their bleeds up, and with that CC, that's how you're going to force cooldowns. Other than that, the rogues are kind of like just waddling ducks, kind of just waddling towards the opposing Arcane Mage, and it's gonna be like that for a while. So keep that in mind. Gorecki has a slight mana lead here, popping that Archangel, popping those Shadow Mend heals, throwing out those shields. Looks like Samayam and Stunts are going to be okay for now, but as I say that, Samayam gets caught in that full kidney shot, does Trinket out of that kidney shot. No CC on the Gorecki quite yet. Cubsy into the full blind, Trinkets it immediately. I love that Trinket from Cubsy. If he sits that blind, he gets resapped, re-sheeped. It's very, very bad. Now, Gorecki, on the other hand, is sitting the blind, but that mass invisibility comes out from Samayam, so there's no follow-up CC. Beautiful mass invis there by Samayam, making it so that sap is not possible, or that follow-up sheep is not possible. The full sheep comes out on the Gorecki, but he does premonition, kind of Shadow Word Death, that polymorph there, the half polymorph now coming out on the Gorecki. Samayam getting caught in that stun, does pop that Temp Shield out of it. Majordan now sitting that silence, for the time being. Looks like Major's still going to be fine, and I would say Super Frogs are still in the driver's seat, but right away, that full sheep comes out in the Cubsy. Major jumps down below, pops that Trinket, pops that Temp Shield, pops that Invis, and then ports back up. Beautiful kites there by Majorden while his Breeze is in CC, keeping himself alive, saying, you know, if you're not going to heal me because you're in CC, I'm just going to solo keep myself alive. Now, the mind control from Xaryu taking Majorden off the edge of the map is very nice because he already used displacement. Keep in mind, when that displacement's on cooldown, you can really make mages a little immobile when you jump them back down because they just have to waddle back up. And if they use a blink to get back up, now they have no blinks. Now Method Black's changing up the strategy a little bit, putting some pressure onto Wealthy Man. Wealthy Man counters that with an evasion. Looks like he's going to be fine for now. Wealthy Man says, here is a vendetta for Samayam. The full vendetta comes out with the Trinket, the Invis, the Temp Shield coming out from Samayam. Samayam's no Ice Block available. The CC comes out on the Xaryu. Xaryu does decide to Trinket it for now. Rapture coming out. Shields coming out on the Samayam. Very, very scary moment there for Method Black, but they do handle it flawlessly. No like overcommitment of cooldowns, just the right amount of cooldowns. But once again, guys, Samayam has no Ice Block. One good go, he is done. Here's a huge kidney setup on a Samayam with an insane amount of damage on a Samayam. However, no CCM to Xaryu means that he's going to be fine for now. Now the sheep comes out in the Majorden, and Wealthy Man getting very low. Does he have? He has no cloak, no evasion, no vanish. Wealthy Man's actually a very, very nice kill target right now. Method Black, incredible job, kind of realizing that double growths coming out, Majorden and to Wealthy Man. Wealthy Man once again getting still very low. Majorden getting very low as well. So Method Black is more of the rot play style. You know, they're rotting down the mage, rotting down the rogue. They're not sticking to one target. I really love this type of play style. Majorden and Wealthy Man both still low. Cubsy sitting that lockout. Wealthy Man getting about 10%, 5% life there. Throws out the Cloak of Shadow. Looks like he's going to survive for now. Pressure coming on his nuts a little bit. He counters that with a cloak immediately. Sheep's coming out onto Cubsy. Majorden getting very low, and he is forced an Ice Block. Method Black has completely turned this game around. Now Xaryu in that full blind though. No Trinket available. If they get some follow-up CC, Snuts could definitely be in a world of fur. There's that full sheep. The evasion does come out though. He has no cloak available. He has no vanish available. A little scared for Snuts though. He is just spamming that faint keybind. Does get that full kidney shot onto Snuts, but Snuts immediately trinkets it. Resheep onto Xaryu. Looks like he does Death It or it breaks immediately. Archangel heals coming out from Xaryu. Looks like the team of Method Black should be fine for now. Now the kit comes out onto Samayam. This is when it's scary, when he has no more mobility. The mind controls from Xaryu continue to impress me this game. He just keeps mind controlling him off. Beautiful shadow step back up. Kit comes out onto Cubsy. Snuts getting very low in that kidney shot, but Majorden has no Ice Block either. Both teams have a ton of offensive pressure back and forth. Now the Rapture coming out from Xaryu. He's throwing out the shields onto absolutely everything. Majorden, though, in that full kidney shot, this is going to be it. Cubsy in that full polymorph as well. Majorden doing a beautiful job kiting, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Another sheep lands in that full fear, and that's going to spell it out. Method Black, terrible opener, but they turned that around. I love the strategy of a little bit more spread pressure, hitting the rogue a little bit, just to put an element of surprise on the enemy team. However, to get that final kill, they did just throw out that nice CC chain onto Cubsy, the stun into the sheep, into the resheep, into the fear, with just a ton of damage with dampening kicked in onto the mage. All right, guys, game 4, Super Frogs is down 1 game. This is a best of 5 series, so if Method Black takes this, they will win 3-1 here. So it'll be the final game. So Super Frogs to stay in this tournament not the tournament, but to stay in this series, they have to win this match. Now Xaryu, Samayam, and Snuts kind of playing their more rot pressure, and I love that. The full blend comes out onto Cubsy. Let's see if there's any follow-up CCs. It looks like Snuts actually has that vanish sap. Doesn't look like he actually got that sap, but he does go with that garrote. Kind of a little spread pressure onto Cubsy as we've seen in past games, but it doesn't look like it's going to quite work out here. Snuts taking a ton of damage, sitting about 40% life right now. Xaryu does use that trinket there as well. Kidney shot coming out onto Samayam. He's taking quite a bit of damage as well, but it looks like he's going to be fine. He has every defensive cooldown in the book. He can trinket, get out of there if he needs. Snuts, though, about 30-40% life, catching huge shields from Xaryu. Now Xaryu going into that full sheep, does Death It looks like. So beautiful plays coming out from Xaryu with the Shadow Word Deaths, keeping himself out of those CC. Majorden now kicked, pressure turning just a little bit. Now that short stun coming out onto Sam-Am. The arcane power, though, from Sam-Am. The kidney shot onto Majorden. Doesn't look like they're going to make much happen, though, because Cubsy does a beautiful job of just popping that Rapture, popping the Archangel preemptively, keeping his team absolutely topped 100% life the entire time with those Power Bird shields, making sure that the team of Method Black cannot create any pressure. Now the kidney shot coming out onto Sam-Am. Now 50% life, 40% life, 30% life. Little scared for him. 10% life. Sam-Am, are you going to ice block? Looks like he does hold it. And I must commend Sam-Am for holding those ice blocks till he absolutely needs them. Not dying without blocking like I would do, but instead holding it for the absolute perfect moment every game. That communication between Greki and Sam-Am is just unparalleled. Now Snuts taking a little bit of damage as well. Looks like Super Frogs took a page out of Method Black's book here, trying to change up the strategy, creating more pressure all around. Now Cubsy sitting those sheeps, and as he's sitting those sheeps, Majorden and Wealthy Man both taking a little bit of damage, about 50% life. Fear comes out onto Cubsy. Majorden might have to go into his ice block here. 10% life. There is the ice block. So first ice block of the game now coming out from Majorden. Method Black definitely looking like they have the stronger opener, but as we've seen in the past, that doesn't always matter. Wealthy Man taking a bunch of damage now as I say that, but he does get top back off from Cubsy, popping that Archangel, connecting some Shadow Man heals, connecting a ton of healing to top back Wealthy Man and to top back his team. Now Greki with that mind control onto Wealthy Man, always being annoying with those mind controls. The beautiful thing about Greki and these mind controls, guys, is that when he cast those mind controls, you have two options. One, you let it sit and your teammates go like, come on, I'm mind controlled, like, get me out of this. Or two, the second option is that you don't kick the mind control and he sits at CC, or you do kick the mind control, and now you're down a kick, and you can free cast all of the penances, all of the shields, all of the clarities. So it's like you're either baiting a kick on something that you really don't want to kick, or you're sitting the CC and it's good anyway. So these mind controls from Greki are really putting Method Black ahead in this game. But as I say that, the full sheep comes out on the Greki, the Garrote coming out onto Snuts, the Trinket coming out from Snuts, the Vendetta popping as well. Sam-Am in that full kidney shot, Rapture coming out from Greki. Now Greki, I must say, is very, very low on mana, 20 or 30% mana already in this game. That must only mean one thing. He's just been going absolutely aggressive on his Dispel Keybind, just smashing his Dispel Keybind. That's probably why they had a lot of pressure there at the start of the game, but now they're slowing down quite a bit. Super Frogs kind of cleaving down Sam-Am and Snuts. The kidney shot now coming out onto Sam-Am. The Archangel from Greki. Snuts getting very low as well. The full blind comes down to Greki. He trinkets it immediately, but Snuts and Sam-Am both in a world of hurt. Sam-Am has that ice block available, though, so something to keep in mind. Both mages don't have temp shield. Majorden has temp shield coming back up right now, so if you can get that pre-temp shield or that trinket temp on the next go, even though he has no block, might be a good way for him to survive. Now the kidney shot comes out on the Wealthy Man. He does get gripped away by Cubsy into safety for now. Looks like he is going to be fine. Full kidney shot, though, out onto Sam-Am. A little bit scary, but once again, guys, Greki is not in CC. The damage is scary, it is, but as long as that priest is out of CC, it looks like they're going to be okay. And the big thing that I'm worried about right now for Method Black is that Greki has no mana. He went super offensive with those purges in the opener, and it paid off. They had a wonderful, wonderful opener, but now with no mana, things like Master Spell aren't an option. Things like offensively purging, even things like healing become much more difficult. So Greki kind of, ran himself dry very, very early, and I'm very scared as this match goes into dampening. Super Frogs might be able to just take this by just living simply at this point. Now Greki's Archangel does fade. Sam-Am and Snuts both aren't topped by the end of that Archangel. Snuts 50-40% life. He does throw out that Vanish, tries to survive, spamming out Feint. Greki does get counterspelled, though, trying to spam out some Clarity of Wills, but those Clarities can be purged. The Pain Suppression now coming out on the Snuts, which is very interesting because he probably wants to save that for Sam-Am. Now Majorden going to the Polymorph, Wealthy Man getting low, popping that Evasion. No CC on the Cubsy quite yet. Looks like Wealthy Man's going to be fine for now. Now the Garrote Silence into the full Polymorph coming out on the Greki. Beautiful CC chain. Sam-Am getting very low, pops that Temp Shield. Not sure if it's going to be enough. Now Sam-Am and Snuts are both getting so low, and I just don't think Greki has the offense or defensive cooldowns to keep him up. He pops a Rapture, but that's pretty much it. He has Barrier as well if he wants to throw out a Barrier, but it's definitely hard to sit in that sometimes. Now Snuts taking a ton of damage, just enough Cloak of Shadows available. He has the Evasion, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. He does get purged on those shields over and over, so Snuts hitting about 10-15% life for a long while. Now another full sheep coming out on the Greki. This has to be it, right? I mean, Snuts has a shield or two. But every time they keep getting purged, full blind. Now coming on to Greki with no trinkets. Nuts running around the pillar, doing his best job to survive without any heals. Now the half polymorph coming out into the full kitty shot. The CC from Super Frogs, absolutely incredible. Snuts doing a great job though of just line of sighting kitty shot onto the mage, doing his best job to survive. Now Greki throwing out that penance does get counterspelled. Now throwing out the Shadow Mends, no CC left for Gareki. He's finally going to top off Snuts. Great job by Snuts actually surviving that go. But look at Method Black, guys. They're all 50% life. They have no defensive cooldowns pretty much. The kidney shot comes out on the Snuts. He immediately trinket cloaks. But it looks like Method Black is on such a back foot. I don't know if they can turn this around. But Cubsy into the full sheep. The kidney shot on the Matron. And immediately the Ice Block comes out on the Matron. And it gets mass dispelled by Gareki with his last little bit of mana. That was very, very risky. Now the full sheep comes out onto Gareki. He does death it though. Beautiful plays from Gareki. Samayam is low though. No Ice Block. No Temp Shield. Snuts getting low as well. Kidney shot comes out. Snuts and Samham both in such a world of hurt. The Archangel from Gareki coming out. He's doing his best job of using any bit of mana he has to keep his team offensive because Mason has no Ice Block either. Cubsy full sheep coming out onto him. The Mind Control coming onto Wealthy beautiful cross EC, but Mason does pre-temp shield to that ghost. They couldn't really go into it. Looks like they have no mana for dispels there. The kidney shot coming out of the Mason. He trinkets immediately. He does get kicked though. Kidney shot coming out onto Snuts. He does trinket it. Full polymorph now onto Gareki. Looks like he does death it. Beautiful plays from Gareki this entire game. Samam and Snuts haven't been top guys now for about 2 minutes. They've both been 50% life. So this next go that they can connect any amount of damage, looks like they're going to go down. Gareki completely tapped. Samam 30-40% life. Snuts 40% life. No temp shield, no ice block, no mass invis, no pain suppression. The Rapture kind of like their last lifeline to stay alive here. Now the Vendetta from Wealthy Man connects onto Snuts. Samam gets locked out. Samam can do nothing except watch this happen because he is locked out on that Arcane Tree. Full polymorph now coming onto Greki. Snuts taking so much damage and he finally falls down. Beautiful game there. Method Black had an incredibly aggressive opener. The purges, everything was just beautiful from Method Black, but they just ran out of steam. Super Frogs, on the other hand, played that long game and are tying the series back up 2-2. All right, guys, as this is a best of 5 series, the winner of this game is going to take it. Super Frogs with 2 points, Method Black with 2 wins. This is very close. Majoran gets sapped immediately. This is Dalaran Sewers. I can't wait to see the outcome of this game. All these games have been neck and neck, back and forth, but I'm so excited to see this go to a game 5 because these are some of the best teams in North America right now. Both of these guys are both these teams are absolutely legends, playing with and against each other for years, and just to see this is just a huge match. But the full blind now comes out on the Greg. He does decide to say that full blind comes out on the Cubsy. Cubsy trinkets immediately. I must say I like Cubsy trinketing that blind because look how much pressure they have from it, right? Gareki sits the blind, and now Snuts is having the cloak, having to use his trinket. Gareki is definitely more behind in the healing aspect of this game. He pops Archangel trying to top his team back off. Looks like he's going to actually do it for now, but he does get that short sheep onto him. Snuts getting very low and goes down. I cannot believe that. So Gareki actually sits the blind, kind of like, you know, I'm going to sit the blind. We'll catch back up, but Super Frogs is like, wait, Snuts has no cloak. Snuts has no trinket. We could just win the game right here because they get that full lockout into the short polymorph onto Gareki, which normally you would never want to do that. That's a very all-in risky play to go for those half or quarter polymorphs when the DR is coming back up because it's full very soon. But Majordan notices, wait, if I just sheep Gareki here and then they get a re-kick, so they got two the blind into 2 sheeps into 2 kicks into the last sheep. Boom. That's it. Snuts goes down. Beautiful play there by Super Frogs, kind of realizing that they can do that, and they take it. Super Frogs takes game 5, and they will advance further into this tournament. Guys, if you enjoyed this video as much as I did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you guys want to see any other games from the North America or the European Cups every weekend, make sure to let me know down below in the comments what you guys want to see from me. As always, guys, thumbs the video down if you didn't like it so I know, and talk to me in the comments for what you guys want to see next time. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.